Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films and Cinder Studios, and I'm back with more tips for the first-time painter. Now once you have your paints and your water and your rags and your canvas, your brushes, and all the other things you need to start painting, you might feel like you're really ready to go, and you can probably get a few paintings done with all that stuff. But there are a few other studio essentials that you might need. Now if you're dropping in a horizon line, that kind of thing, you can draw with your shoulder or your elbow and get a really nice, long, straight line. But occasionally you might want a ruler, especially if you're doing buildings and really intense perspective stuff. Now you might already have a rag, but you might also want to pick up paper towels. And the thing I love about paper towels is, one, because they absorb water a lot better than just a regular old rag will, and two, is because they're textured. They're a different material that if you're doing, especially work on paper or maybe wood or something like that, you can actually use the paper towel as sort of its own brush. Now, as any watercolorist might tell you, masking tape is another really good one to have. If you're doing straight lines, painting, that horizon, maybe a water line, you gotta get some tape. Now this one might seem kind of obvious, but pencils. I mean, really. If you're doing any kind of sketch work on the canvas, regular number 2 pencil will do it. Personally, I'll use a 4H pencil, and that's so I don't get as much graphite on the canvas, and when I start to paint, especially white, I don't want to get that graphite in with the paint and kind of tone it down into a gray, where I really need a white. Another really super important one that you're going to need is some kind of a sketch pad. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've been working on a canvas, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to do this line the way I want to, and I want to practice it first. So having just some paper sitting next to your workstation can really be great. It's like just scribble out an idea before you take it to the canvas, and before you don't want to feel like you're going to ruin something. And if you got a ruler and you got tape, you're going to need scissors. Now, whether you're just kind of cutting up some rags, or as much as it pains me to say it, reshaping a brush, scissors, another studio essential. Now here's one that's going to make actually a lot more sense. Additional water basins and additional palettes. This is a glass palette. I've been using these a lot lately. The bigger you work, the more you're going to want more space to mix your paint, and that's where additional palettes come in. And additional water buckets, kind of the same thing. Now, this is my water bucket. It used to contain, I think, flour or something in a kitchen. I don't really remember. And this is my additional one that I use most of the time for additional. The advantage to having an additional water basin is if your water's getting really muddy and dirty, but you're still rinsing your brushes in it, it may not be good to take that dirty water and then go into, say, white paint, where you need that bright, stark white. And the final studio essential is another kind of pair. We have a can of gloss, clear coat, and workable fixative. If you're doing drawings, especially with charcoal, heavy graphite, pastel, or really anything that's going to feel is going to be a little bit messy, you want some kind of a fixative. If you're using mixed media, which is what I do a lot of times in some of my more elaborate paintings, is you want this to kind of throw down and just be able to separate your layers a little bit. The second of the two, the gloss clear coat, I use a triple layered coat on every piece that I do. And that's not only to really bring out the boldness of the colors, preserve the piece, but also makes it a hell of a lot easier to clean. If I'm selling to a person that maybe has kids and they might spill something on the piece, it's acrylic. You can just wipe it down with a wet rag. So these are my thoughts on extra studio essentials. Now maybe you have some studio essentials that maybe I didn't list here. Go ahead and throw them in the comments below. Let everyone else know what you're using. And as always, for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, subscribe to the channel. This is Ben from DMC Films and Cinder Studios. See you guys next time.